Welcome, my name is Tino and the LookUsArts proudly presents the Man of War Assault Squad 2 Spectator Mode casting second video. In this video, as you can hear, I'm speaking in English for my friend Fuskin, who is actually not Hungarian, so enjoy that. So as we can see, it's a very basic start in both sides. The two sides who's playing now is the Soviets and the German army. Both sides, as I can see, we start with some riflemen. In the right side you can see what types of units are available. Basically it's as in the first match. It was the same setup with just medium, heavy and light things. No super heavy stuffs like the King Tiger 2 or the IS-3 in the Soviet part. Just only light tanks, medium tanks and heavy tanks, and light and medium artillery. In here, as you can see, Russian rifleman is just chasing a German machine gunner. Puskin, the Soviet player, he realized it's not good. It's actually red guard, so he's got some chances so he can take the machine gunner, but the reinforcements of the machine gunner is just barely arrived, so the poor red guard has no chance to win this close situation. The machine gunner is at this time he was saved. If Puskin is just simply retake the rifleman. In here there is, oh gosh, something is just exploded in the hand of the full red guy. Maybe it was an anti-tank grenade, it was just shot it into the face, I don't know. Some well-placed building fight you can see now. An 80 grenade just landed in the house and exploded out. One of the soldiers inside the house, as I can see, it survives, but it's lying on the ground. There are the 4 players. We can see some sneaky tactics where actually the Soviets are just flanking the positions of the German army. Actually, that's a real bad situation when, as you can see, the Soviet front line is just stable everywhere, just at least a few people who are just watching the front. No one can sneak around it. Maybe in the Soviet right side some possibilities, but on the other side it's very well defended. And actually the German army, you can see it's rarely have some peoples in the very left, in the very right side. So that's what is using the Soviet player is an advantage. He just sneaked 2 soldiers into the enemy lines as a scout unit, just for watching what's going on in the other side of the front line. There is a German Ostwind which is just charging in the front side of the main road. In the other hand, very weird, no one takes the temple itself. There are these two sneaky bad Soviet guys. They are all fired and they are just proning in the background, just for scouting the units. As far as I can see, the Germans are just relying on their armored vehicles at the moment. The Germans has a Panzerkampfwagen 4 and an Ostwind. This is a quite good combination, because the Russians have barely nothing, but this also can mean it's they are just saving the resource points for something stronger. That's actually a very dangerous game what the Germans are just doing, but maybe it will work. I just write a quick message for the Russians, because actually I never saw this tactic before. The spectator mode is just opens a lot of options before the player who is just want to watch what's going on. I really like this. This is a very bad situation. Don't leave the your soldiers in one group like that, because it's just one grenade and high explosive shell or anything can easily kill an whole squad of soldier of yours. So actually it's not the best idea. Some very small fights for the right side kills. Actually it's a good advantage if you can keep it, as the German player tried to do it, but it's just actually it was just too rare of the peoples in there to just defend this position. The old German defenses are just barely concentrated in the middle of the town and maybe a little bit to the sides, but it's really not a front line, it's just a few people in there. So you can see the Russian units are almost at the other side of the town. Actually, a lot of people choosing this point because for defending, because the church is a very strong place, because you just simply cannot destroy it. So you can make it a hard point. As you can see from Pushkin viewpoint, that's what he saw from here. I mean, I'm watching his mate, because the green colors in the map is just showing he's alive, and the blue units are actually Pushkin's units. But they are just make a very beautiful front line against the other players. Now the Germans are start pushing back this Russian front line. The German also need to start smashing down the buildings where the Soviet units are just hiding. It's actually a good tactic, but you can use simple flamethrower for this purpose, but it's actually working, and this is what it means. And as you can see, the front line is start shaping, at least now, in the German side too. The bad thing is just a bit too late. Karas is bring a panzer Kampfwagen. No, Panzerkampfwagen, I'm not sure. So it's a panzer, a Stug 3. Yes, it's a Stug 3. This is the remains of the building. So it's a Stug 3. It's a safety feature, I guess, because technically it's a bit weird, because I don't see any enemy tank on the map, or it was maybe just this T-60, which is not really dangerous for enemy tanks. A Panzer 4, it's easy match for it, but at least later on I guess it will be benefit, we will see. Now it's the German line is quite take the ship. Unfortunately, as I said, it's too late, because 3 people is already sneaked behind the enemy lines. It's actually funny, they never use them, so as they never drop a grenade from behind or flanking, they're just using them as a scout unit, which is actually very smart thing, and I start using it too. And a first Russian unit, an IS-2. As I said, there are no super heavy tanks, so the Russian IS-2 is the heaviest Russian tank which is available now for the Soviet side. And that's the main problem. The Soviet Russian snipers just start taking down a few Germans who's hiding in the middle of the field, and that's a big disadvantage for the Germans now. They don't have anything against this IS-2, just the Stuka-3, which is not really the best counter against it. They doing very smartly, they just pulling back their tanks, and the Soviet-Russian front line is just start moving up very smoothly and slowly. Actually, if I were in the Soviet side, I just push a bit more further. That's actually another weird choose. They just calling a self-propelled artillery against an IS-2, which is not the best. A self-propelled artillery can be useful for demobilizing a strong heavy tank, but if we don't have anything which can actually penetrate his armor, we're technically fucked. So as we can see now, I think it will start smashing this IS-2, but it's technically useless if you don't have anything what can be penetrate this. The Soviet side is actually in a bit overwhelmed, the Germans now, but they are not really using this. They are trying to play as a very safety game. I can technically understand this because this is, as you can see, a combat mission. In this mission, the winner, who is actually can destroy more enemy units than the others. And now another viewpoint, as Sadist viewpoint, he's calling a Panzer III-N, which is again just this is the artillery version of the Panzer III, if I remember well, a self-propelled version, which is actually really useful, much more useful than the rest, because this one is actually can aim very accurately, and this thing can disable or demobilize easily a heavy tank with one shot. Some Russian scout, which is just using with hold fire, so actually they don't shoot anyone, but they just for the purpose for watching the other units of the enemy, and they can give coordinates for the player who's actually controlling the enemy. T-60s looks like a bit lost in the map. He doesn't really know what he has to do, looks like. So actually the German side now has a Stuka-3, an Ostwind, a Wesp and a Panzerkampfwagen. So this is actually a very good combination, but they doesn't really have anything against this IS-2 and the T-60 combination, and that's bad. They have a lot of tanks, but they just simply cannot use them, because technically for this IS-2 is a one-shot kill, but the Russians didn't know this, and that's the only advantage of the German side right at the moment. So they just simply giving a hell lot of time for the Germans for preparing for the IS-2's attacking. Oh, and a butt shot, a really bad butt shot from the IS-2. It's hitted the Stuka-3, and now it's a waste of attacking Panzer IV, which is actually not bad. I don't know if it's direct or not, but because the Panzer IV is actually no simple chance for taking out the IS-2, but at least with this situation the Panzer III has some opportunity for smashing the IS-2, and a Goliath is just flanking the IS-2, but he doesn't really have the chance for taking out. but it was a very clever move for using the Panzer IV as a camouflage, and the Ostwind is dead as well. It's really bad for the German side. Now they lose a lot of points in this action only, and actually, as you can see now, the Russians are just start rushing from far distance, but this one is actually not working. They should really push more further with an all front, in my opinion, with in the cover of the IS-2 until they can, because the only German tank right at the moment is just the Panzer III, which is actually totally incapable to fight with this IS-2 in an open field like that. The IS-2 is just execute this last German tank just to be sure, and he starts firing the Wesp too. The Wesp is start firing back, and as you can see on the kill list, the T-60 is right at the moment is killing the German infantry as well. A sneaky German soldiers trying to operate closer to the IS-2, and in here the T-60 just starts smashing the German lines. At the moment you can see the Soviets are really taking giant advantage, and almost killed IS-2 by an infantryman, but the grenade is just missed, and the flaming Molotov cocktail, it's not really using anything. The Molotov cocktail was useless against the tank. It's a very weird thing. Actually, one time I actually tried this after the new patch. The flamethrower and the Molotov cocktail has not really any kind of damage or destroying. So it's a Molotov cocktail or a flamethrower cannot destroy a tank right at the moment in this patch. I don't know why, but it can be happen. And finally, the first enemy counter tank, the Tiger, and a Yacht Panther. I'm sorry for the pronouncing. Yacht Panther and the Tiger, which is arrived right next to each other. It's a really strong combination against this IS-2, and the IS-2 is actually disabled now because I saw someone is repairing. Actually, if I remember, maybe the gun itself was damaged, and as you can see, it's just pulling back because it's simple. They have no chance against these beasts. The German side is taking back their advantage by just calling this too strong enemy. He's calling this too strong German force. And the sneaky Russian in the bushes. It's really good for just scouting actually, because the Russian side is just can see simply mostly everything in the German side, because the Germans are just quite a bit pushed back to their spawn points, because the Russian front line is take the half of the map and a little bit more on the city sides. So as you can see, at least one Russian unit is just in the outskirts of the town in the German side now, and fighting with an SMG infantry. And another Panzerkampfwagen 4 from the Karas in the German side. So it's now a Tiger, a Panzer IV, and a Yacht Panther, which is actually against an IS-2 and a KV-2, which is a fair amount of tank battle. I see. Two sneaky soldier is just will be meat in the field, and the Soviet side will just realize it's too many enemy German soldier is just trying to cross the field, so he just pulled back his infantrymen and the KV-2 because he realized if he just simply don't have enough infantry in there, he's just going backwards somewhere that he believes it's safety for his KV-2, because you know in a combat mission like this is the most dangerous thing is when an infantry is just taking out your tank, because maybe the infantry will be die but the tank is die as well. It means the enemy is lost maybe a few points only for destroying 200-300 points of enemy units, which is actually a lot. Now as you can see the unit limit is 100 CP, and if I remember correctly it was 500 manpower for all the game, and the goal is to take 1500 victory points by killing enemy units. A quick counterattack by the Russians with two T-60s against the sneaky infantry. Oh, and a very close miss Panzerfaust. It was really close. Actually, if this Panzerfaust was hit, this T-60 has a bad day today. Actually, yeah, it was just missed by an inch. So they just trying to take this little elevation point in here with the T-60. Just changing viewpoint into soldiers of 78 just for watching his viewpoint too. He's got this small amount of infantry in the left side of the Russian front, and the sneaky infantry is in the very front of the front at the Germans. And actually, as you can see, he is almost see everything. This 3 unit in the background, it's very useful. You see every unit movement, which direction is going, and he see this tiger which is just trying to going back in the background, so he and his teammates has time for actually preparing for this tiger arrival. In this little elevation, it's a very good defense point, because if you just stand behind it like this, it means if your tank is just popping up, it's almost your tank cannot be fired yet, because the enemy tank is going upstairs, upward, I mean, in the elevation. And this position is actually a real nice one too. Oh, and another Goliath, which is just trying to sneak through the enemy front. But this is the point where actually you can see these attacks are just not so useful, because they have a lot of infantry in there. If the Russian player is just cautious enough and checking the map, they can simply identify this Goliath, so they can push back, because if you can see a Goliath, it's very simple, you know it's going for your tanks, not for your infantry, because the Goliath is just simply not the most expensive point, but it's from the special points, which is never taken back. So everyone is oh, this Goliath is just smash this poor little fella. Now Puski realized there is the Goliath that it shoot a high explosive shell into, which is just exploit everything in the area. Germans are really need something to change the war point at this time, because as you can see the Russians has 168 points and the Germans has only 60. They really need to push a little bit more back at the Russian side, and actually they have an only advantage, while the Russians has a very wide infantry line with a few tanks, and the Germans has a lot of armor. They have a 2 Panzer IV, a Stug 3, a Tiger, and actually it's a right amount of infantry as well. So they have the opportunity to just flank and break through more direction in the Russian front than the Russians has. But we will see what's gonna happen. The Tiger and the IS-2 is just start smashing each other from the real big distance, and the IS-2 has take a very lucky shot into the tower of the Tiger, and now the IS-2 is just start charging forward just for a little bit. As you can see now, this hill in here was saved the life of the Tiger, because this elevation is just a good viewpoint. I mean, it's really against the enemy viewpoint if he's just turning back, and the Tiger is just going back as far as he can, but the IS-2 is still coming, and the team communication in the German side is actually really bad. You can see there is a Panzer IV and a Jagdpanther which does nothing yet, but finally the Jagdpanther just starts moving. It's actually very dangerous, because if the player with the IS-2 just didn't realize this Jagdpanther is coming, he can easily be trapped between them, and the Jagdpanther takes a very nice shot into the IS-2. Actually killed 2 members of the crew. It's only 75% or less effective now, this IS-2, and it's showing the flank of the foreign Tiger, which is actually not a threat yet, because the Tiger is in repair. Well, a dangerous Goliath again, which is actually, if it takes a hit next to the Panther, it's just taken out. Also now the player with the Goliath is just trying to be sneaky, but the thing is with the Goliath is the Goliath is not an infantry. It cannot be hidden. It's a vehicle. It's like a car. It's showing a big rectangle in the map. The Tiger is being repaired, almost under repair at the moment, but it can be repaired at any moment. The IS-2 is just retreat back to the middle of the map, and as you can see, the Russian infantry is just start closing up in little squads. So they made a quite good front line, which is now it's a bit deformed, and with some small amount of squads with 1 or 2 member or 3 member of squads are just try to push through the front line itself. Actually, but the Germans are really lucky at the moment, because their front is quite okay now at the moment. Not the strongest line that I ever see, but it's enough for just stop the advantage of the Russian infantry around them. And the Tiger finally repaired, so it's a very dangerous attack can be from this movement, because a Tiger, a Jagdpanther and a Goliath it can attack this IS-2 from 3 different directions. And IS-2 is a very good and strong unit, but an IS-2 and 2 T-60 is just no match for this amount of armor and type of armor. He's just running back with this SMG guy because he's just... No, it's going forward. It's a scout SMG guy. I'm sorry. Oh, he just watched the tiger. We see the tiger. He's pulling back his tank, and now he makes a very big mistake. Moving the infantry forward, which is nice because it's scouting, but he's moving with the IS-2 itself. No blame. I want it to be the same, because then the IS-2 can take out a tiger, and he just simply forget the Yak Panther, which just almost killed him in the last time. And now in this moment he's not just forgetting, he's will show the flank for the Yak Panther. It's actually really dangerous. The tiger is just using the building for safety cover. For if he knows the IS-2 is just start moving forward, he can just cross through the building and make a good shot for it. Oh, the KV-2 is start firing at the Stu-3. Actually, the German player, he didn't realize it's the Stu-3 is under fire, because I know, because I made the video, so I know this Stu-3 has a real bad day today, because it's gonna take a direct hit from this KV-2. Because if I don't even mention that it's not a live commentary, I already record this footage before I'm speaking now. Oh, and Fuskin is actually called an ammunition truck. I'm not really know the reason of this, but yeah, it's probably a secret weapon. First, I believe he just simply wants to maybe take mines in this hill, which is not a bad idea, but after that I just realized it's just simply, as you can see, the IS-2 is just run out of ammunition and fuel as well. It has got only 74.4 liter gasoline and a very small amount of ammunition in this IS-2. Just changing the viewpoint into the German soccer player. Sorry for if I'm pronouncing badly. This is again a really bad idea, just using an infantry group in a very big part like this. You have to separate your soldiers one by one in a smaller frame. Oh, and the Yak Panther is actually taking down a bit of fire, but it's still repairable. The engine didn't blow up, just being destroyed for a while. But the team communication is maybe not so good. Oh, and Panzer IV is taking a hell big of damage too, because this should be the moment when the IS-2 is actually trying to take out this Yak Panther, because from the direction of the temple there is a big open field where the IS-2 just can cross through, and the Panthers actually don't have the opportunity to just being repaired until the IS-2 is arrived. Oh, but I realized that I mean, I just simply forgot the IS-2 is being being under a big maintenance now because it's without ammunition and petrol. So they just simply stop the engine again. Now it's full with gasoline and ammunition again. The main question is the Yak Panther has enough time for just being repaired before the IS-2 is just reached the point where it can be give a simple side shot on it. Meantime, the Russian units, the Russian infantry starts a little bit of conflict with the enemy infantry. You can see a simple rifleman is the scout of a machine gunner in the front, in the back, I'm sorry. The Russian infantry start smashing back slowly. The German player has a lot of the German side actually has a lot of armor in the ground. They just simply don't want to use them. I don't know why. They have the opportunity for crushing through the point, and the Yak Panther is just being repelled, and Fuskin is just coming with sneaky infantry. Closing by, the IS-2 didn't do anything. Oh, and the Molotov cocktail, it just barely missed the Yak Panther, and it's just rolling back and the infantry is going back to his front line too, because it seems like the unit is just run out of anti-tank user things like Molotovs and this stuff. And now it's coming what I'm talking about. The Tiger is just attacking the flank of the IS-2 while the Panther is just hitting from the front. And that's it. This is the end of the IS-2. It was a really nice killing combination, but it's a revenge kill for the IS-2 on the background. They just using one unit, one squad leader from the background. I guess this was the only situation when they used this Tiger has to be destroyed, because without this it's just rushing through the front line of the Russian lines. Actually, this will happen without the Tiger too, but with the Tiger it's actually be a catastrophic destruction. The Yak Panther is being unable again. Oh, and the Russian side for the place of the IS-2, because they have only 100 CP. The player is just called this Suhan. The player is just called a 203mm artillery gun, which is actually really dangerous because it can be one-shot kill every single infantry and actually tanks too in the game, which is a bit weird because the rest of the it's a mortar, it's bullshit. It's a big fucking cannon. It's actually the rest of the artilleries in the game are just cannot be super effective against tanks because they can hit only a tank by not just hit, destroy or disable a tank if it's a direct hit, but it's never been a direct hit with an artillery. It's just luck maybe. But with this 203mm gun, it's okay if you just hit next to a tank and it's being fucked by everything. And now it's a big counterattack after the destruction of the IS-2. It's in the German line. They just start moving up in every place. The T-60s just try to hunt the a few infantry, which is actually maybe gonna work, but until he just fighting with the infantry, he didn't realize the Goliath, which actually can cause his death. Oh, that's it. The weird thing is the tank is actually being dead by only because it's flied away, not because of the explosion, I think. But it was beautiful to see this flying T-60. This is the Russian secret weapons, the flying T-60. The 203mm Russian mortar starts smashing an open field, which is actually has no point because it's empty. And the German tanks' advances are a bit slowed down because it's a direct hit on the Panzer IV N or H. No, it was a Panzer IV H, I guess, yeah. But instead of this, it's a Panther coming from nowhere, and it's really useful tank because again the Russians just simply now at the moment they really don't have anything against it, just the artillery, which is not the most perfect patch for a tank rush, and the KV2, which again is just a self-propelled artillery. So the Russians have only just infantries, and as you can see their infantry is gone as well. You can see the front line is being crushed, a few enemy German soldiers, but they are just being chased, and full squad of enemy soldiers and full enemy assault squad is they just take them out, the rest of them. But the next wave of Panzer Grenadier are just coming for the next crushing through, because the German players just realized very well that this place is being really badly defended now, so they just start moving up with tanks and infantry and everything. A strong Panzer Grenadier push, maybe it could be much more useful if you just put a little bit of these Panzer Grenadier soldiers and with a Panther in the background. It's actually a really good push. This will be the best German push in the whole game, as you can see. And a sneaky red guard is just try against a lot of cocktails in the crew on the Panther. The Panther takes out the T-60, which is to try to just slaughter the Panzer Grenadiers. But actually a few Panzer Grenadiers just survived, so it was not so reliable. And now the Panther, with a little bit of friendly infantry support, can just crushing through the enemy front line. An enemy machine gunner is just coming from the back. But oh, it's actually much more Panzer Grenadier than I expected. This Panther is just start taking out everything. The only thing, and a Stux 3 is coming for just support this Panther, which is a really good push. The only bad thing what I just see, they not using Panzer Grenadier to just push more forward for the spawn point of the enemy, because in the combat mission the best advantage is what you can do is just take the enemy spawn point. And as you can see, because of the enemy infantry lacking, they just simply being easily taken out. I mean, now at this moment it was only a bad situation because they're not using the Panther. But the Stug 3 is going for the kill. The IS-2 armor piercing shell, it was pierced from the IS-2, which is actually very... So this third stream, it was very lucky. So this IS-2 just simply bounced off from this third stream. Oh, but the second shot was made it correctly, and unfortunately the 203mm artillery gun was not being destroyed, just being disabled, which is a really big mistake, because if it's cut it down, it's really destroyed the big force of the Russian army. And another Goliath and some panzer grenadier and a few amount of infantry is just crushing through the city for I think it's for making a bit of flanking position in the middle of the city. It's for weird. But on the other front, a squad of assault squad is just start breaking through the front line in here too. Now it's, as you can see, the infantry, what they are using is they are using in one big mass, which is actually not the best and not the ideal still, but in this situation was at least useful, because if you have a bunch of people together, you can you can simply just concentrate your fire rate. And this BA-18, if I remember well, this little BA-64, I'm sorry, is just crushing the front line for stopping the enemy infantry. But as you can see in the other side, there are a little bit of enemy German infantry still, but as you can see, it's nearly cutted and encircled in the middle of the Russians. So these guys will be not really held the line if they are not being replaced or being just reinforced by more units. And another IS-2 is just start moving forward in the other side of the line. As you can see, the German push was really successful, but it's not the best. So you can see this Panzer IV, that's why it needed to be a few infantry around your tank too, or being hidden in somewhere in the bushes, because you see this Panzer IV is taken out without see what is being taken out. And the 203mm gun is used again, and another Panther is just crushing through. They are just trying to do again the trick what they just did before. The only unfortunate thing what they just didn't realize now, it's the Panther has no infantry support at all now. And the funny thing, the IS-2 didn't take out totally this Panzer IV, and bam! This is the reason why you shouldn't keep together your infantry, because one unit with one grenade is just simply killed at least 8 of them, and the rest is just being slaughtered by the BA-64. Oh, a nice 18 grenade is just hit it behind the BA, but he was really lucky. Oh, and something was smashed down. Oh, the Panther. The Panther is just came back to this front for helping out this line, and the IS-2 is missed the shot. So there is another Yak Panther, and in here another Panther, which is again really nice, but I'm not so sure that will be enough if you just don't help them. As you can see, without infantry, this lad is just going next to the tank, and who's gonna just take it out, this panther with 180 grenade without any thinking. He is being dead, but as you can see again, this is combat mission. In here the goal is just to take out more than what you lose in here. And the best unit in the game is this IS-2, which is take out a lot of infantry and vehicles in the game already. Now a few infantry just try to take back this tank line from this tank commander. Maybe another mistake of the German side. As you can see in the map, there is this white little triangles or something like this. It means it's these tanks, these vehicles, it's actually repairable. So you just have to put them on more tank crew and repair them. But they not really use this option, or they just don't have the time for it. Because yeah, spoiler alert, this match will be ended with auto synchronization again, unfortunately. Luckily I figured it out in a forum. The auto synchronization problem is happening if two or more player using direct control in one time. So this caused the auto synchronization problem. If you don't try to avoid this, you just simply don't use direct control in the game and try to convince the other players too. And another Yak Panther and what is this? A Panzer 4G moving into the left side of the German front, just to taking the fight with the IS-2, which is actually can be happening. And another thing, since this video, there are some few patches for the game. Oh, and a beautiful self-propelled shot for the IS-2, which is, as you can see, didn't take out the tank. So as you can see, it didn't take out the tank itself. It's just being disabled, which is actually it's okay. But this Panzer IV and the Yak Panther is in a very dangerous place, because now you can see, wow, it's just one shot killed this whole house now. So one shot from this shell and any tank in the game is wrecked. And now this stun is being in danger, but he's actually managed to going more forward. Oh, the lucky Yak Panther, which is bounced the bazooka shot from the side. I don't know how, and the auto synchronization happened. So this thing is now not exist in the game, or at least since the last patch it was being repaired. I hope so, because as I see in the last few games it was not. I don't see this auto synchronization problems yet, or already, I don't know. I hope so. This auto synchronization is ended. A lot of people is being annoyed of it, because it was really shit. Whew, this was a really long match. So I hoped you liked this video, and if you like, please subscribe for the channel, even if it's you mostly just using Hungarian videos, but sometimes I create English videos as well, even if my English is not the best. I hope you enjoyed, like the video, and if you want to, you just simply join us in the Steam workshop. And if you really want to, you can simply just join us in the Steam so we can play together. See you later, guys.